You walk into a pharmacy or you're just scrolling online and boom, you are hit with a wall of promises. More muscle, endless energy, a better sex life, all from a simple bottle. Male health supplements are a huge industry. But what's really going on inside those bottles? Today, we're going to cut through all that marketing noise and get right to the truth.
So here's our plan. First, we're going to look at just how massive this market has become. Then, we'll put the big promises right up against the actual scientific proof. We're also going to expose the regulatory loophole that lets this whole industry operate the way it does, uncover the very real dangers, and then, most importantly, give you the tools you need to make smarter, safer choices.
All right, first up, just how big are we talking? This cultural shift towards wellness and trying to be healthy isn't just a fad. It has created an absolute giant of an industry.
Get this, an estimated 150 million Americans, that's nearly half the entire country, use dietary supplements. This isn't some niche thing anymore. It is completely mainstream. And it makes sense, right? People want to fill in nutritional gaps and feel like they're in control of their health. The industry has just exploded to meet that demand.
Okay, so this brings us to the big question, the one that really matters. Do these things actually work? The labels make some pretty bold claims, but what does the science have to say? Well, this is where the story gets really interesting.
So, researchers took a close look at a bunch of popular testosterone boosters. And probably to nobody's surprise, the marketing was super confident. A full 90% of them made a direct claim, right there on the bottle, that they would boost your testosterone. But here is the reality check from that very same study. When they actually analyzed the ingredients, they found that for the vast majority, we're talking over 60%, there was zero human data to back up the claims. Nothing. Worse, look at this. Over 10% of the ingredients had data showing they might actually decrease testosterone. In the end, less than a quarter of them had any real science to support what the bottle was promising. That is a massive gap.
So, how do companies get away with such flimsy evidence? Well, one of their key tools is something called a proprietary blend. You've probably seen it on a label. A list of ingredients under a cool-sounding name like Testo Matrix or something, but they only give you one total weight for the whole mix. So you have no clue how much of any specific ingredient you're actually getting. Now, if you ask the industry, they'll say these blends protect their secret formulas from competitors, their secret sauce. But critics have a different name for it: label dressing. The idea is that you can put a teeny tiny, scientifically useless amount of a popular ingredient in the mix just so you can print it on the label, while the rest of the blend is just cheap filler. And as the person buying it, you are left completely in the dark.
So at this point, you're probably asking yourself, wait a minute, how is any of this legal? And the answer lies in one single law from 1994 that basically created what experts now call the Wild West of the supplement industry.
Before 1994, things were pretty straightforward. The FDA treated supplements a lot like drugs. Companies had to prove their product was safe before it ever hit the shelves. But in 1994, everything changed with the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, or DSEHA. This law completely flipped the script, and it reclassified supplements as a special category of food.
And this slide really lays out the two different worlds that law created. For prescription drugs, the burden of proof is on the company. They have to prove to the FDA that it's safe before they can sell it. For supplements, the system is reversed. The burden is now on the FDA to prove a product is unsafe, but only after it's already on the market. It's totally reactive, not proactive.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This comes straight from an FDA official. The agency doesn't approve most of these products or their labels before they're sold. In a lot of cases, the FDA has no idea a new supplement even exists until it's already on store shelves. The responsibility for safety? It's almost entirely on the manufacturer.
This lack of oversight leads us right to our next point: the hidden dangers. The problem isn't just that some of these products don't work, it's that some of them are actually dangerous. The biggest risk isn't what's written on the label, it's what's been secretly added to the bottle. And the health risks that have been documented are really serious. We're talking everything from headaches and nausea all the way to severe organ damage and heart problems. But maybe the scariest risk is how these hidden ingredients can create dangerous, even deadly interactions with other medications you might be taking.
So, what is the most common and dangerous problem the FDA keeps finding? Illegal spiking with prescription drugs. They've found hundreds of products marketed as all-natural that secretly contain sildenafil and tadalafil, the active ingredients in drugs like Viagra and Cialis, that are nowhere on the label.
And this is exactly why it's so dangerous. For anyone taking common heart medications that contain nitrates, this hidden ingredient can cause a sudden, catastrophic drop in blood pressure. The FDA warns this can be, and in fact has been, fatal. This is the real-world, life-or-death consequence of an unregulated product. Okay, so after all of that, this situation might seem a little bleak, but it doesn't have to be. In a marketplace like this one, knowledge is your absolute best defense. So let's walk through the steps you can take to be a smart consumer and protect yourself.
Here is a simple 4-step checklist. Number 1, always read the supplement facts panel on the back of the bottle, not the marketing hype on the front. 2, be extremely skeptical of any product using a proprietary blend. 3, look for third-party certification seals, which we're going to talk about next. And 4, and this is the most important one, talk to a real doctor or a registered dietitian about your health, not a pill you found at a gas station.
Okay, so what about those third-party seals? You'll want to look for these logos on the bottle. Independent groups like NSF and USP test products to verify a few really key things: that what's on the label is actually in the bottle, that the dose is correct, and that it's free of any nasty contaminants. Now, this seal doesn't guarantee the product will work, but it does guarantee the label is accurate. It's a seal of honesty.
So, we end up right back where we started, standing in front of shelves that are just full of bold promises. But now you know the reality behind them. It's a world of unproven claims, regulatory loopholes, and some very real hidden dangers. The biggest takeaway here is to question everything. Before you buy into the hype, you really have to ask yourself the simple question on this slide. Is that promised boost really worth the risk?